The previous character that we learned that was related to the pictograph for an arrow, unsurprisingly, is also a prop. So imagine an arrow in whatever way you wish. It could be just a standard arrow. It could be a giant arrow in some way. I actually thought of, while I was shooting this, I was thinking, oh, you know, the game, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, was a big game for me as a kid. And if you're not a gamer, you won't relate to it. But if you are, the arrows in that game were always very different and they were important to winning the game. So I could maybe imagine that. Whichever one you pick, you can write it into your props deck. But I wanted to take a moment to talk about the fact that the previous character in this case is actually less important than the prop. The prop here is the real deal. That's why we taught you that character. The previous character is actually really rare. It's not used very often, but because it is such a major component in a lot of other characters, we taught it to you. So despite the fact that the first iteration of the Mandarin Blueprint method has about 600 characters in it, we teach you 600 characters in order to teach you the most common 500 characters. And the reason for that is 500 is the 80% mark, and you need to learn characters like this in order to be able to chunk them down into only one object, as opposed to trying to think of them as 3 or 4 props. If you have too many props, it's hard to remember everything, really is. So let's go ahead and move on to the next scene where we're going to use this arrow, and of course make sure you record this down in your props Anki deck.